Merek Grimaldus, the hero of Helsreach, is the reclusiarch of the Black Templars Space Marine chapter and a noted veteran of the Third War for Armageddon. Grimaldus was noted by High Marshal Helsreach to have been the youngest Marine in the Black Templars' history to be raised to the rank of Sword Brother. He was later elevated from his Marshal Sword Brethren and inducted into the mysteries of the Reclusium after the Battle of Fire and Blood of the Vinkless Crusade. Such was his faith and devotion to the Emperor that the chaplain saw in the young Grimaldus the makings of a powerful warrior priest. He was mentored by Mordred, whom Grimaldus would eventually succeed as reclusiarch. He took his vows before the broken sword of dawn aboard the battle barge Eternal Crusader, and has since justified the chaplain's faith, zealously leading the warriors of the Black Templars in battle. For his first command as reclusiarch, High Marshal Helsreach charged Grimaldus to lead one of the 3 Black Templars crusades that had been dispatched to Armageddon, specifically the Helsreach crusade. Grimaldus led 100 Black Templars in the defense of Helsreach. They were besieged by millions of orcs, who attacked from landside, but also from a vast fleet of submersibles launched from the icy deadlands far to the south. Towards the end of the siege, a great horde of orcs attacked the temple of the Emperor Ascendant, a vast basilica that had stood since the earliest days of colonization, and was held at bay for nearly 2 months before they finally penetrated the temple precincts, looting and destroying priceless holy relics as they went. The Imperial Guard units and the Hive militia fled, but the Black Templars refused to yield. The battle degenerated into bloody melee combat in the heart of the temple, where Grimaldus bellowed his now famous cry, "I have dug my grave in this place, and I will either triumph or I will die." The battle only ended when the entire temple collapsed. All were thought lost, but a day later, Grimaldus crawled out from underneath the ruins, carrying the last relics of the temple. Apothecaries who later treated Grimaldus's wounds claimed that it was a miracle that he still lived, let alone had the strength to crawl from the rubble of the destroyed temple. Upon commencement of the Season of Fire, Grimaldus was given the title Hero of Helsreach, the greatest honor its inhabitants could grant. Grimaldus's next assignment was to have been to return to the Eternal Crusader and stand with High Marshal Helsreach and Commissar Yarrick in the pursuit of the Orc warlord Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka, who by this point had left the Armageddon war zone. However, Grimaldus had uncovered evidence that a hidden enemy was attempting to systematically eliminate one of their brother chapters, the Celestial Lions. Helsreach gave Grimaldus leave to remain on Armageddon to investigate these troubling findings. Grimaldus traveled to the Lions' forward base near Hive Volcanus, where he met with only 96 surviving Space Marines out of the 983 that arrived on Armageddon. After speaking with the highest-ranking surviving Celestial Lion, Pride leader Ikeen Dubako, he learned of the Lions' plight. They had challenged the Inquisition over the conduct of Inquisitor Apollyon during the Qatar massacre, and the Inquisition had decided to make an example of the chapter by grinding them down and letting others witness their shameful death. Dubako and his remaining brothers were determined to die in a final blaze of glory against the orcs infesting the Mannheim Gap, and avenge the deaths of those lions that had perished in the Third War. Dubako asked Grimaldus to perform a ceremony of last rites to bless them for the coming battle. Grimaldus, however, refused. He believed that the Celestial Lions could and should rebel themselves. To that end, he called upon Astra Militarum forces from Helsreach and joined the Lions when they returned to Mannheim. The Imperial forces were victorious, and Grimaldus earned the gratitude of Ikeen Dubako, now chapter master of the Celestial Lions. Grimaldus would later depart from Armageddon alongside Helsreach in the pursuit of Gaskell. During the age of the Dark Imperium, Grimaldus had crossed the Rubicon Primaris and become a Primaris Space Marine. In the wake of the Great Rift's creation, Armageddon has been invaded by demons. This has caused a climate of fearful and superstitious fervor, and its major population centers have become rife with imperial subcults and worshipful creeds. The same is true for the people of Hive Helsreach, and Grimaldus has, perhaps unsurprisingly, become the focus of one particularly large imperial savior cult within the Hive. Due to his efforts to save its people during the Third War for Armageddon, the cult attaches spiritual significance to the hero of Helsreach and a talismanic notion of the protection to him. To worship the reclusiarch, Grimaldus' cult will gather at the ruins of the Temple of the Emperor Ascendant and perform several rituals in his name. These include lighting huge pyres where the cult burns alive citizens that they have accused of witchery, mutation, or heretical thought. Many of the cult's members will also dig ceremonial graves and then cover them over with the shrouds of industrial tarpaulin. They do so in the belief that just as he reputedly dug his grave in the temple's grounds once before, Grimaldus might rise from such a ritual pit to defend the people of Helsreach as he did previously. A high-ranking member of the Imperium has his servants watching these cults, and the one that worshipped the reclusiarch in particular. So far, however, it is unclear if there's anything excessively divergent in the cult's beliefs. They do wonder, though, what the pious Grimaldus would make of the cult if he knew about it. Grimaldus often went to battle accompanied by his Reclusium command squad known as Squad Grimaldus. Over the course of the siege of Helsreach, the squadron suffered losses, with the remaining members being wiped out in the defense of the Temple of the Emperor Ascendant. Grimaldus elected not to reform his command squad following their deaths. In the aftermath of the siege, however, High Marshal Helsreach provided Grimaldus with an apprentice, Initiate Cynric, who was under consideration for elevation to the chaplaincy. In addition, Grimaldus is occasionally accompanied by a trio of Cenobite servitors, each bearing one of the surviving relics from the Temple of the Emperor Ascendant, a broken Aquila statue, the remains of the founding charter of Helsreach, and an orb containing the last of the temple's holy water. As a chaplain, Grimaldus wields a Crozius Arcanum that was forged for him upon his induction into the chaplaincy. He also possesses a plasma pistol recovered from the body of a sergeant of the Imperial Fists who saved his life in the Battle of Alfava Metraxes. He wears a relic helmet, worn by every reclusiarch in the chapter's history since their very founding. He also has a chaplain's rosarius made out of bronze and red iron and shaped like a heraldic cross. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this, hit that like button, leave a comment for the algorithm, and subscribe to stay tuned for more.